I'm sure that you're all aware that the new Gleaming Depths update coming to the Wasteland December 3rd is bringing the new longly awaited raid content along with it. Now, these raids are pretty different to the old raids that Fallout 76 had many years ago, and let me just say they are pretty difficult. So a lot of people are wondering, what should I do to prepare for this huge new section of endgame content? Don't worry, I got some tips for you to be a little bit more prepared for this huge update. Now, this isn't going to make this raid really any easier for you, but it it will, I guess, give you a better grasp on the content of what you should be looking forward to and what you should bring along to at least survive the raids, because they are pretty difficult and the content is meant for end game content. So, like I said, let's go ahead and hop into the things that you should know and what you should do right now before December 3rd to prepare for this huge update. First up, and most importantly, like I mentioned earlier, this is endgame content, and it's meant for people that have already completed the game and have been playing for a little while. Bethesda recommends you be at least level 300 before participating in this content. Now, wait, I know what you're saying. You don't have to be. There's no level cap. You can basically do anything in this game at any level. And yes, you are right. Obviously, you can do it at whatever level you want, but this content is extremely hard. It's hard as hell. It's not like Expeditions where you could run it at a lower level and take it down. You kind of have to be a decently high level, have some good gear, and have a good build for this. So I suggest you be at least level 300, just like Bethesda is recommending, until people have a grasp on raids and are able to do them a lot easier and carry those lower level people through them. So I suggest you hit level 300. You have until December 3rd to go ahead and farm West Tech and to get to level 300. So if you're just at level 300, good for you. You made the cutoff and everything like that. But if you're not, I highly suggest you grind up for level 300, and it'll give you a chance to get some better gear also. But Bethesda recommends level 300 to at least participate in this new content. Secondly, I wanted to mention that alongside this new raid content, we're getting a huge perk card update that'll change how a lot of meta and important perk cards work. I will have a linked video in description that you could go ahead and check that out to see what these changes are. I will suggest that you go ahead and check out that content and fix up your build before you go ahead and do these raids, because a lot of the perk cards that you were using before got switched to endurance, or they moved special stats or anything like that, or they moved or changed how it works, and you may actually be able to make a little bit of a better build. So level 300, and also before you even do anything, first day December 3rd, open up your perk build, your build section of the Pip-Boy and everything like that, and go ahead and fix your build. You're not going to want to go into a raid without a proper build setup. You will get your ass handed to you. So level 300, and make sure your build is intact, and go ahead and fix up your build. The third most important thing I wanted to mention before getting into the items that you should stock up on is you're going to want to get a group of friends, or at least be communicating with a few random people in the Wasteland now that you plan on doing the raids with, because this content is not going to be soloable, at least for a while, until someone figures out how to break the new raid system and everything. But you'll need at least another person, 3 people, or even a full team to complete the raids. Like I said, there are going to be 5 total sections of this. Every section there will be a checkpoint, and every section just gets harder and harder and harder until you face that final snake boss. But there are going to be 5 sections you have to go through, so communication is key. There are going to be a bunch of different things that you have to attack at certain times during some of these sections. You're going to have to take out shields. Some people may not know this because they don't watch videos on Fallout 76 and they're just going into the content blindly. So communication is key. Even if you join a random raid team, you're going to want to hop on the mic and you're going to want to conversate with these people, or at least use the text option in the game, or at least send them messages if you don't have a mic on Xbox or on PlayStation. Communication is key. Again, this is extremely stressful endgame content. It takes a while, and you will need at least another person, if not a full team. A full team definitely will make it much easier, but if not, if you have another player that is, if you're level 2000, and if you have a friend that is level 2000, and both of you guys have god tier weapons and god tier rolls on your armor, you guys can probably go ahead and do it with two people. But most of us normal Wastelanders out there aren't going to be able to solo or do it with another person. We're going to need a full team. Okay, and the last final note that I wanted to mention, just to throw out there in case you wanted to beef up your survivability, and if you are a power armor user, good news for you, that extra survivability is going to come in handy. Like I had mentioned multiple times during this video already, this content is extremely difficult. A lot of people are running tanky power armor builds just to get through it, because if you die, that's it. Game over. You don't respawn. You're an absolute dead weight to your team, and you're not helping them. So if you have a beefy set of T65 power armor with that good old bolstering effect, you may want to bring it just in case. But like I said, shout out to all the power armor mains. You guys are finally getting some content that you could shine in. So like I said, not like the raids before, power armor is going to be extremely useful and is going to be a must use in some scenarios where a lot of people, their builds just aren't going to cut it, especially with the new revamp and everything. They're going to have to change it all around. So a sure way of going ahead and completing this content is just create a power armor build, like the T60, and then get a set of the T65 armor, create a nice power armor build, go ahead and put the bolstering effect on that and everything, make it a nice set of rolls, and then just head in there with that. You don't have to use heavy guns. You could still use VATs. Sure, power armor and VATs don't really go hand in hand because it's just extremely expensive for your fusion cores, but now may be the time for you to try out that power armor build that you were thinking of making all year. So go ahead, try it out before December 3rd. Now let's talk about the items that you should stock up on before raids come out on December 3rd, just to make it a hell of a lot easier. And some of them are pretty obvious because there's only so much that you could do to prepare for content like this. So like I said, this is pretty obvious since the content is extremely difficult and is meant for all of us endgame players out there. The first thing you should stock up on is no-brainer, healing items. Get all of these stimpaks and super stimpaks you can. I'm going in with at least 1,000 to 1,500 stimpaks on me because I run a bloodied build on my main character and I will be healing all of the time. And if I want to do DPS, I'm going to have to switch to a non-vampires or non-medic weapon, and I'm going to have to take some damage occasionally, so I'm just going to be spamming stimpaks. Like I said, these raids are extremely difficult. Survivability is key, and that's the only way you're going to be able to get through the content. You're not going to be able to glass cannon your way through this, because if you die, you die. Secondly, you're going to want to stock up on as many repair kits as you possibly can. If you have extra atoms and if they go on sale anytime in December, maybe buy a bundle if you can, or see if the event Dangerous Pastime anytime from now until December 3rd pops up. Don't miss it because they give out a shit ton of repair kits. Like I said, you're gonna want to be shooting your weapon a lot. You're gonna want to take a lot of damage. So your weapon is gonna break, your armor is gonna break. Sometimes your weapon, especially if you're using a railway, will break 3, 4, 5, 6 times per event or per section of the raid. So and your fixtures may break like twice or once at least during every single section. Now once you do complete the section, they will have a little area where you can repair your weapons with a workbench and everything like that, but if it breaks in the middle of a fight, you're not going to have that, so you might as well stock up on as many repair kits as you could get your little Wastelander hands on. Alright, so like I said, most of these are extremely obvious and just no-brainers, since this raid content is going to be extremely long, extremely difficult, and you'll have to kill a lot of enemies and fight a lot of spongy enemies. You're going to want to stock up on whatever ammo types you use, and I'm talking thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of rounds. And this is, like I said, because you're gonna have to fight so many different enemies during each little section of the raid, and then you're also going to have to fight those extremely spongy bosses, and some of them you're gonna have to take out shields and everything like that. So you're going to go through so many bullets, so many spikes, so many plasma cores, so many fusion cores. Whatever you use, you're going to go through thousands of rounds, tens, 15s of the fusion cores and everything like that. You're going to go through whatever ammo reserve you bring into that raid. So, like I said earlier, there is going to be a little section at the end of every, I guess, portion of the raid that will spawn in some benches and then also your storage and then your scrap box and ammo boxes. So you can take ammo from there, but I highly suggest just going in there with whatever fucking ammo you use. And I would suggest going in with, like I said, 10,000 to 15,000 of whatever ammos you use. And then, like, 25 to 50 of whatever cores you use. If you use fusion cores for weapons or if you use plasma cores for weapons, you're going to want to bring 25 to 50 of them. Depends on how often you use that weapon. If your main is a Gatling Plasma, I highly suggest you bring at least 50 of the cores. You're going to go through them. I mean, like I said, me personally, I'm going to bring 10,000 bullets for my fixer, 10,000 railway spikes, and then 10,000 5.56 bullets for my handmaids, and then hopefully that will be good enough. And then I'll have my 10 millimeter ammo to the side for my Anchorage Ace as a complete backup if I run out of ammo. Finally, I wanted to mention what weapons you should bring with you to these raids to succeed and help out your team. And now I'm talking about weapon types. Really, there are only two types of weapons you should bring with you, and that is going to be a healing weapon or a team healing weapon. I'll get more into that in a second. And then obviously a few DPS weapons. If you are a VATS user and if you are a VATS auto user, this is going to be where you could shine and help out. Everyone knows that heavy weapons don't produce necessarily the highest DPS in the entire world unless you are going for a complete min-max build, which for the raids you may not really be able to because you're going to have to put a lot into survivability. You're going to want to have a few railway rifles with bloodied builds behind them, taking down and doing most of that potential damage. So let's talk about the first group of weapons. Like I said, you're going to want to bring a healing weapon with you. I highly suggest you bring at least one vampire's weapon with you to keep yourself alive, either a holy fire or a plasma flamer or something like that. And then next up, this is actually a little surprise. I highly suggest you bring a weapon with the medic effect. This is super helpful for helping out teammates who can output more DPS than you, and they could keep your whole and this could keep your whole entire team alive much longer. And Bethesda recently buffed this effect specifically for these raids, and now it actually works really well. So if you're doing damage with a medic's weapon, you're hitting those criticals and everything like that, you're going to be healing your entire team, which if you put it on a railway or if you put it on a fixer or if you put it just on something that if you have a VATS build and it has a super high magazine, even a heavies gun, you could sit there, constantly do those criticals, constantly put out more damage and just heal your team while they are sitting there with like bloodied railways and doing the actual damage to these bosses and getting their shields down and everything like that. So I highly suggest you keep a vampire's weapon on you just in case you're the last person alive and you have to switch to the holy fire and back yourself in a corner to survive. Or I highly suggest you bring, and well, not really, and I highly suggest you bring a good medic's weapon that you'll be able to help your entire team with, and so you'll just be able to heal not only yourself, but you. If 2, 3 people bring medic's weapons and they're constantly making them proc, your entire team will be near invincible, and the person doing the DPS or the 2 people doing the DPS will be able to basically just do DPS the entire time and never have to worry about healing themselves. Alright, so obviously we just spoke about the healing weapons, either a vampires and medics. Now, secondly, you're going to want to bring 1 or 2 DPS weapons. Now, if you're a VATS build, you better have a great railway rifle because, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these enemies just have a lot of health, so much health, and they are just so spongy. Your team is going to have to output a decent amount of DPS. If you're a heavy gunner, I highly suggest you have a good Gatling Plasma or a great Tesla cannon to just output as much DPS as you can. Some of this content is going to be timed. The last section of the raid where you fight the snake is actually a timed fight. So if you don't kill that goddamn snake in a certain amount of time, you actually lose the raid and you will have to restart. So that's pretty shitty. You're going to want to make sure that you are able to kill that snake with enough time. That's why I said 2 people may not be enough. As of right now, the content doesn't scale based on how many people you have in there. So the snake has as much content with 4 or as much health as it with 4 people as it does with 1 person. So The more people you have in there outputting more DPS, the better. Now, I highly suggest if you have a team of 4, 2 people have medics weapons, and then 2 people have really good DPS railways or fixers that they could output a decent amount of DPS on. So then you could go through this raid as fast as possible. But regardless of whatever weapon you are able to bring to the battle, it is a team challenge, and you're gonna have to talk to your teammates and communicate with them to figure out what role you will best fit on this new team and during this new content. So just make sure you have a healing weapon and you have a weapon to output a shit ton of DPS so you're not a useless dead weight to your team. Now, before we get to the end, I just wanted to recap on exactly what you should know and what you should be stocking up on. So, the things you should know, go ahead, make sure that you're level 300 or above to at least participate in this content. Bethesda said you should at least be that level, so at least try and get to that level. Obviously, you can participate at a lower level. It's just going to be harder for you, and you're going to help out your team a little bit less, so people may kick you from the team. Be level 300. Go ahead. You have until December 3rd to farm up those levels. Secondly, you're going to want to revamp your builds. Like I said, there is a huge perk card change coming to the Wasteland, so go ahead, check the description for a video on that. Third, this is going to be a team-based content. You're going to want to get a group of friends that you communicate with. Fourth, power armor users. This one's for you. Power armor is going to be really nice because of the extra survivability that it provides. The items that you're going to want to stock up on: stimpaks, repair kits, and ammo. Of course, 3 things that you should be stocking up on anyway, so no real change there. Stimpaks because this content is extremely hard, and you're going to want to heal yourself if your teammates don't have any medic weapons, and if you can't pull out your vampire's weapon. Repair kits because this content is extremely long, you're going to be shooting your gun a lot, and you're going to be taking a lot of damage, so you're going to have to repair your gear constantly. And third, you're going to have the stockpiling ammo. You're going to want as much ammo as you possibly can to take down all of those extremely spongy enemies. For weapons, you're going to want to bring 1 with medics, 1 with vampires, and a few DPS weapons just to help out your team. So there you have it, ladies and gents of the Wasteland. That's all the tips I have to be successful with these new raids. Like I said, again, it's endgame content, so you need to be prepared. Make sure you're high enough level. Like I said, make sure you have all the crap you need and you can do enough damage so your team is able to get through those final timed fights. And as always, good luck to everyone with this new content. I hope to see you out there. I hope to be able to do some raids with you. And as always, I just want to thank you motherfuckers for watching this motherfucking video. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the Wasteland. Good luck, everyone. Let me know what you are excited for with this new update. If you're excited for the new content, the new rebalancing of perk cards, or the new rebalancing of weapons and enemy damage. I appreciate you all for stopping by, and as always, I will see you in the Wasteland.